This committee, since its creation, adopted 5 international treaties. Now, these 5 treaties are the ones who govern every kind of activity that goes on in outer space. The first treaty that was adopted in 1967, called the Outer Space Treaty, is like a constitution for outer space activities. It's the one that has all the main principles. It's not a long treaty, it's easy to read, and it's interesting to see what Soviet Union and US as the main actors agreed at that time in 67, because it's quite foreseeing also a lot of activities, and it's drafted in such a way, drafted and negotiated in such a way that it can be applicable even nowadays to activities that were not possible technically at that time. All the other treaties that followed afterwards, the Rescue and Return Agreement, which deals with astronauts and says that astronauts are envoys of mankind, the Liability Convention, which talks about who is liable if the damage occurs in outer space or on the way to outer space, the Registration Convention, which says who has to register any space object that is launched, and what information you need to provide to the United Nations in order to have all information in one place, and the Moon Agreement, which is the last one that was adopted, that doesn't have a lot of signatory actually states, because it was a point of controversy which came out with the Moon Agreement due to one article that says that if you find natural resources on the moon, you should share that with all other states. So main spacefaring nations, US and Soviet Union, they didn't want to sign this treaty because they thought, why should we share anything if we are the ones who invest so much in the technology to send our machines and robots. And on the other hand, it was like a compromise that developing states were asking for, because they felt that they don't have the technology at the moment, so they don't want to be like deprived of the opportunity just because they're technologically behind. So unfortunately, this treaty has only 19 states and none of the big ones that have signed. But still, this treaty is coming now more into the focus because of all the private companies that are now developing technology to go and extract natural resources from the moon and other celestial bodies, talking about human habitats on Mars. So we'll see if this will actually come to be the regulating norm, or states will simply ignore it. These principles, which are discussed in the other 4 treaties, they're actually more detailed provisions of the Outer Space Treaty. So the Outer Space Treaty is the one that regulates the general norm, and then the details are discussed more in these 4 subsequent conventions.